I'm Evan Irwin. Please say you'll be the bug fix for an innocent player who's suffering right now. A player who needs your help.
For less than one booster pack a month, you'll rescue Magic Online players from their torturous existence, providing sleeves, deck boxes, and love to those who need it most. Call in the next 30 minutes and we'll send you a free copy of Chandelar so you too can remember what it was like to have good Magic video games.
This is your chance to say, I won't sit by while another grinder suffers.
Please, go online or call right now. Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of the Magic Show. It's time for Fate Reforged spoilers, so let's dive right in. We'll kick it off with the Christmas spoiler, Ugin, the Spirit Dragon. This guy is a freaking boss. It's obvious he was made to look like a badass, act like a badass, and generally do everything you want a ridiculously expensive planeswalker to do. It's also interesting when you compare him to Nicol Bolas planeswalker. Both are 8 converted mana costs, both start at a high loyalty, and the ultimate of Nicol Bolas, which includes dealing 7 damage, making the player discard 7 cards and 7 permanents, is mirrored on Ugin by gaining 7 life, drawing 7 cards, and then putting 7 permanents into play. And that gets today's clever gold star. Kudos, Wizards! Otherwise, this guy is going to be very powerful and constructed. Sure, you'll only see him in ramp decks or maybe blue-black control run 1 or 2 main, but when he hits the board, he means business. Just like when Nicol Bolas Planeswalker hit the board back in the day, the opponent was scooping soon thereafter. I expect the same to be true for Ugin. Also, isn't it funny his second ability really cares about the color of cards? It's almost like in the 3rd set, we're going to see colorless creatures like, I don't know, the Eldrazi come back. And stop comparing this guy to Karn Liberated. Karn was dumb and overpowered. Ugin is merely very, very good. And also not castable with 3 Tron lands. Quit it. Looking at the mechanics, there are a whopping 6 here, many returning, some not. Now, Manifest is, it's complicated. Most clearly seen on Soul Summons, it only gets crazier from there. Good lord, what a mouthful of text. And let's not get started on the Ice Cauldron-esque word soup that's on Rage form, also known as turned down for what form in German, what indeed. So now a morph may have a morph cost or its own mana cost as its morph cost, depending on how it was placed face down. Complexity and potential cheaty face interactions aside, I think the gameplay looks sweet, and if you can wrap your head around it, I think it works really nicely with Scry from Theros. Sweet synergy, sure, but hey look, they made morph even more complicated, and they said it couldn't be done. The challenge accepted. A flagship creature with this mechanic is Whisperwood Elemental, one of the most undervalued cards of the set. Not only does it provide a 4/4 and a 2/2 at the end of your turn, it provides some really solid in hostilities and or drown in sorrow protection. Sure, kill my team, they'll just be replaced with more morphs. Were this not mythic, I'd say it's not that great, but mythic rarity feels like this was pushed, and perhaps subtly so. Delve returns and is highlighted in Soulflayer. Wow, that's quite a list you got there. Also, why can't the same be true for Bushido, flanking, horsemanship, and banding? Just saying. Anyway, how them Tombstalkers treating you? Extra power and toughness, 1 more mana, but it has flying without any shenanigans necessary. Also, hasn't seen Legacy play in a long time. With this guy requiring both the setup and the payoff, will this actually get there? I doubt it, but it's a sweet card. Now, if you really want to delve Mindbender, Temporal Trespass is for you. Remember when we scoffed at Treasure Cruise and had doubts on Dig Through Time? Well, those days are gone, and it's now perfectly understood how incredibly powerful these cards are. Ironically, it is those cards that may keep this one from seeing any play. Delve Time Walk is no joke, but if you're already delving everything away using those first 2 spells, is this really necessary? Granted, Treasure Cruise and or Dig Through Time may get banned, after which point Temporal Trespass looks to be quite interesting. Raid, my favorite mechanic from Khans of Tarkir, has been replaced with Dash, also known as that kid from The Incredibles or the Viashino Sandstalker mechanic. Yes, because I was around when the rocks were soft, I remember actually cracking this guy at the Visions pre-release in 1997, because I'm old. Anyway, turns out for the Sandstalker that low toughness plus the inability to just put him into play forever made this card kinda suck. Now luckily both worries were addressed in dash cards, such as Goblin Heel Cutter here. What these cards do is give you options. Sweet, sweet options, and as a result provide fantastic gameplay. Do you play the 3/2 for 4 mana now, or do you use the 3 mana to deal 3 damage immediately? Having abilities that trigger on attacking just makes this more interesting, such as on Mardu Strike Leader or Flame Rush Rider. They even flip it around on Mardu Shadow Spear, which I think is super sweet. Get the life Swift Drain now, which is effectively 2 damage if unblocked, or play him for just a single mana and get the virtual 2/1 attacker all game. The choice is yours. Now, Prowess returns as the Jeskai mechanic, and have you seen Monastery Mentor? Good God, people, this guy is bananas. Straight up produce aisle, make no mistake, this is a man who gets things done, and by things I mean wins, and by done I mean smash your opponent in the face. The fact that Monastery Mentor tokens get Prowess is the real push. Had this guy just made 1/1s, he'd be okay, but not seen as a possible replacement for young Pyromancer in Legacy or as anything but a good card in Jeskai token decks. But nah, where does the pedal belong? On the floor, people! So let's keep it there. Our last returning mechanic is Ferocious, as seen with my exclusive preview in Shamanic Revelation. But that ain't nothing compared to what they busted out last week. Flamewake Phoenix is not screwing around. What does this Phoenix have to do? He's got to go to work, and if he stops doing said work, it only takes a spell or two to get him back in the game. He is sick with Butcher of the Horde, who gladly brings him back every turn. He makes pump spells like Titan Strength incredibly powerful, as now your guy gets bigger, and it got the Phoenix back for a single additional mana. While Chandra's Phoenix is arguably better, due to not relying on a creature on the battlefield to return it, and all that implies, this guy is absolutely designed to crush and constructed, and crush it shall. Alright, so we're through the mechanics. What else does Fate Reforged have to offer? We begin with Soulfire Grandmaster. I mean, just look at his name, for God's sake. He is a Grandmaster. Not just Grand, not just Master, but a Grandmaster. And wow, does he prove it. I mean, this guy is going to exist in a world with Jeskai Ascendancy and stoke the flames, people. Fair. Sure, but let's not stop there. You playing casual? Oh, here's Blasphemous Act. Let's gain 1,000 life, because who cares, right? Don't need damage, just get to 7 mana and then you have Dissolve with buyback. Or for 6, you have Disdainful Stroke or Nullify with buyback. This is a creature just designed to do amazing things in constructed formats, so feel free to watch him work over the course of the next few months. Soulfire Grandmaster is also the first of a whole cycle that feature hybrid activation costs. Isova Dragonclaw, while very interesting, wasn't that exciting. However, Shaman of the Great Hunt is. First, it's a great top deck. Bashing it immediately is always awesome. But you got a ton of mana, start drawing cards. Opponent is behind on board while you're ahead, draw more cards. Drawing cards is like cake dipped in chocolate dipped in money, so let's eat cake, people. Another underrated card is Brutal Horde Chief. I mean, look, here is your turn 4 and turn 5 plays literally laid out before you. Play this guy, swing with everything, draining game. Next turn, play your 5th mana and bash, activate his ability, and wreck your opponent. He may not look like much with his Hill Giant stats and all, but the power is there. Warden of the First Tree is pretty damn sweet for a 1-drop. Now let's get the Figure of Destiny comparisons out of the way first. Tree. To start, I can't wait for Magic Online to show me the 9 different ways of activating this guy, because good design. Secondly, Figure of Destiny this ain't. Figure was a huge force in the standard, and it presented a lot of interesting options at every point. Now, activating at 1 mana and 3 mana is a huge difference from 2 mana and 4 mana, particularly when the latter does not increase the power or toughness of the creature. Sink another 4 mana in only to get lightning struck? Probably going to happen a lot. Now, regardless, this card is going to see a ton of play because it lets you play a single threat that a control player must answer. Notice that third ability can be activated over and over with 5+1/+1 counters each time? That wasn't an accident. One of my favorite themes of the set is that of choice, of options. Just look at the first card ever spoiled from the set, Crux of Fate. Remember when Damnation was exciting? Well, look, people, this is just the In Hostilities version of the Black Day of Judgment. However you want to wrap your mind around that. What I'm saying is that Black's having a board wiping spell, and one that you can really work to your advantage, is both awesome and powerful, because what dragon would you save anyway? Let me show you. His name is Silumgar, and he has a very special set of skills. Skills that include being damn near unkillable, dodging the minus ability on Elspeth, while also wrecking all of the tokens made by her. This is a control finisher if I've ever seen one, and don't let the 3 power fool you. This toothy monster means business. Next is the Siege cycle, 1 for each color, and oh man, do I love these. Let's see. We have Citadel, Monastery, Palace, Outpost, and Frontier. While only 1 or 2 of these will ever see serious play, it's obvious a ton of time and effort were put into all of them to not only make them interesting choices, but interesting effects each time depending on what you choose. I'd expect Monastery to be the most powerful and or most played, partially because it's blue and also because it's card filtering ability. Not to mention the underrated Frost Titan option that quickly starts to screw with your opponent. Don't forget, multiples play very nicely together, and if it ain't Monastery, I do like Citadel Siege because both effects are fantastic and you get the +1/+1 counters immediately, while Palace Siege looks like a great sideboard card against control decks who are trying to run you out of threats. You either keep getting threats back or you drain them to death? Kill you or kill you. I'll choose kill you, thanks. But let's wrap up here with a few remaining thoughts on other spoilers. Arcbound looks super powerful to me, and yeah, it can backfire, and sure, it can hurt yourself and your team, but it can also be set up to do the maximum amount of damage to wipe your opponent's board and potentially kill your opponent in one fell swoop. If deflecting palm saw play, this might as well. Grim Contest is a butt comparison card. Oh my god, Becky, look at that creature's butt. It is so big. Let's fight it. Supplement Form is an amazing casual and limited card. The fact that it's an instant is super sweet. End of your turn, bounce your bomb, and I'll get a copy. Booyah! Torrent Elemental is, mythic? What? Jeskai got Soulfire Grandmaster and Monastery Mentor, and Sultai gets, this guy. Sure, that's fair. I guess when you delve him out for Ancestral Recall, Treasure Cruise, he's worth getting back or something? With just 40% of the set spoiled as of this writing, it's hard to really say if this set is good or bad as a whole, but the spoiled cards are really exciting, and it appears the Jeskai Way are definitely going to benefit from Fate Reforged. Between that and reprinting fetch lands in the set, how can you go wrong? So what do you think about Fate Reforged? I'll be filming the complete set review with Brad. I took a pie bet against Dig Through Time Nelson next week, so look out for that. For everything else, get to liking, subscribing, and supporting the show on Patreon. Until next time, Magic players, this is Evan Irwin, tapping the cards so you don't have to.
I always like the fatties.